demonstration, I'm going to show you how to make a card using the beautiful new Edale panel from the John Next Door collection. And this die comes in 1, 2, 3, 4 sections. So you get an outside line so that you can cut the die out or put a frame for it. You then get this section which cuts you all this beautiful sort of almost Art Nouveau section in. A piece that goes in the middle again which will cut it out, or that will actually cut a beautiful lattice into there. There's quite a lot of different combinations you can make with this card, so you can go from the very simple to the really complex with this one. But today we're going to make a sort of a mid-sized card. So I'm going to start with a piece of card. This is Coconut White Essential card from Craft Artist that's been cut to 3 3/4 inches by 5 3/4 inches. And all I'm going to do is I want to use the second die in the set, and I want to use the lattice to start with. So we take a long piece of tape, pick up our central die, allows us to position it inside that panel correctly, and we're going to place that evenly against one side. And what we're trying to do is to make sure that it's even on these 3 edges. We run that piece through and we cut that, and that will give us this. So we get this beautiful section through on all of these areas. So that's been cut through with the lattice. We're then going to take the die again. We're going to place it on, leaving a nice fine border between the 2, evenly there. We're going to run that through and cut that. And that will give us this panel here. So we get this beautiful double panel, which works in both orientations. I just think this is a beautiful panel die. And panels are really useful. So we've got that. So what we want to do now is want to put a different colour behind these 2. So we're going to use just the simple outside die, and we're going to cut ourselves 2 panels. And I've done this in the Sky Blue Craft Artist Essential card. So really very simple. And I'm simply going to take this die. I'm going to add some spray glue. So I'm using Craft Mount by 3M. I'm going to spray all of the back of the card. You can use normal glue, it's just quicker to use spray glue. And we place these on to cover over those 2 lattice areas. So very simple. I've then taken a piece of sky blue card and I've cut that slightly smaller so that it fits on the back. I've already put foam tape on this. But when we turn it over, then we get that beautiful colour change. So what we need to do next is to cut ourselves just the lattice panel. So again, we take the lattice detail and the inside die, take ourselves a long piece of tape, pick that up, which allows us to hover over that central die, stick it together, we stick that onto a piece of card, and we simply run that through the machine. And that will give us this beautiful lattice panel just here. Again, we repeat that with just the outside line to cut us a plain blue, and this time again it's in the sky blue, so the softer blue. We add a little bit of spray glue, glue those together, and add some foam tape down the centre. Really simple. So I'm just going to take that foam tape off, and I'm going to position that here, bang in the middle between those 2 panels. So we've got that beautiful crossover of lattice there. Really simple, really easy. So I've put some foam tape on to the back, and I use 2mm foam tape so that we don't get too much depth, but it's just easy still for postage. So remove that. And I've got a card blank I've made here, which is 5 by 7 inches, and I've just matted this with a mat at 4 3/4, and then 4 7/8 by 5 3/4, 7/8. This is exactly the same. We're just going to pop that white panel onto the center, which fits exactly. And at this point, you could add a sentiment strip across there. You could stamp a sentiment onto one of these panels here, really simply. And what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to do that. So I just bring in my press to impress. This makes it so much easier. and pop that into the top right hand corner. We've got our sentiment here, and we can put that bang in the middle. And I find it a lot easier to cut the sentiment strip first and then put the die on. And because we're using all blue and no black in here, I'm going to use VersaFine in smoky grey because it's not too obvious. Ink my stamp and stamp that down. I get that beautiful sentiment, not too heavy, which is I Can't Believe It's Your Birthday, which is from the John Next Door flag sentiment set. Put that away. So here we've got our beautiful sentiment in our blue. So I'm going to take a little bit again of foam tape just to add some depth and dimension. So we pop that across the bottom. We'll reveal that. And we use those 2 dots to make sure we get it nicely in the center, and we just press that over. Really easy. And then I've got some flowers here that I've made up using the John Next Door Marigold die set. So I'm just going to put a little collection on one side of that edge. Really simple and easy. And I'm going to do exactly the same but mirror it on the other side. And I'm used these again in the 2 blues, the sea blue and the sky blue, and we just simply tuck those in, and there we have a beautiful delicate card with looks like multiple layers, but we've simply used just 3 of the dies in the Edale die set.